onto Mr. Cruel's bed.
Who the fuck? I ain't even. Man, look, this shit ridiculous, dog. Who drew this, bro? Like somebody got a kindergarten class to. Sure. What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Wolf TV. Now I'm back with another reaction video for you today. Now today's video is called Disturbing Police Sketches and Photos. Now this is uploaded by Nightfare. Now check this out. I've seen a few police sketches that I just cannot look at. So I don't know what to expect. I really don't know what to expect. But without further ado, we're gonna get straight into this. If you guys enjoyed this video, man, please consider liking. If you guys really enjoyed this video, man, please consider subscribing. Make sure you turn on that bell to be notified. Here are my social medias. Let's get straight into this. This is Disturbing Police Sketches and Photos. Roll it.
Television programming on WMAQ-TV, Channel 5, NBC in Chicago. We now leave the air and wish you a pleasant good morning.
What's going on? Get your ass up and salute. What the hell? Get your ass up and salute. What the fuck is you doing, eh?
You wouldn't think that images intended for the good purpose of locating someone would ever turn out to haunt the people that view them. However, that's exactly what happens with a myriad of police photos and sketches. Tonight, we're going to dive into a few of these disturbing photos so that we can dissect their stories and maybe figure out what makes them all so eerily unsettling. So kick back, get cozy, and enjoy the video.
Get it because it's a wolf? Alright, you guys, I'm sorry.
Our first story starts on September 19th, 1999. In Cairnbrook, Pennsylvania. An unnamed 10-year-old girl was walking along the side of the road with her two friends when they noticed that a certain teal car had passed by them multiple times. After a final pass, the driver finally parks the car and steps out. He approached the girls and inquired about the location of a yard sale. But before the unnamed girl could answer, the man grabbed her, threw her over his shoulder, and brought her into the car.
Damn.
The man fled the scene down south on State Route 160 towards the town of Berlin. As he drove, he pulled out a handgun and pointed it at the girl, stating that he would kill her if she didn't stop screaming. He subsequently put down the gun and struck her across the head. At one point along the drive, the man pulled over to the side of the road and moved over to the passenger seat, where he assaulted the girl.
We'll be giving people the urges to do shit like this, man. Like,
when another vehicle started to slow down and approach the man's car, he told the girl to lie down as he sped off, crossing the state line into West Virginia. Eventually, the man made it to his destination, a remote location later determined to be along West Virginia Route 26, south of Markleysburg. It was here that he committed unspeakable acts against the girl. The man then ordered the girl to clean herself with paper bags that he had brought along with him in the car.
Damn.
As he did the same. He then proceeded to toss the bags out the window as they got back on the highway and continued to drive towards Markleysburg. After traveling a short distance, he stopped the car and forced the girl out. He told her to count to 100 and then walked to a nearby convenience store where she could call her parents. The girl got out and the man continued south. As the girl walked along Route 26, a passing driver picked her up and contacted Pennsylvania State Police. Now, the article where I'm getting my information from doesn't mention anything about where this police sketch came from, so I'm just going to assume that the girl described to the police what the man looked like, and this was the end result.
Oh, Lord!
For me, what makes this image so disturbing is the uncanniness of it all. The whole face
is that motherfucker ugly, bro.
The massive pupils.
Who drew this, bro? Who be drawing these, bro? Because I already know they finna have a bunch of ones that's worse than this on this list. Who the fuck be drawing these sketches, bro? Like, y'all, do y'all even try? Like, who is that? Who you know look like that?
The man
oh my God!
Dark pits for eyes.
That's what I'm saying. Like, at least put pupils on it.
Seems like it has been stretched, leading to a long nose and almost no chin. Jumping back to the story, while the police were searching along Route 26, they discovered the bags a man had cleaned himself with, and they were able to get fingerprints and DNA samples.
How y'all knew that's
However,
what?
when the samples were submitted
pick
into
up them
the
bags?
FBI's combined DNA index system, no matches were identified. It would be until 2004, 5 years later, that this cold case would gain traction again. The DNA found from the paper bags matched that of an unidentified suspect in 2 other cases from 1988 that were very similar in nature, all 3 of which having to do with young girls. Finally, in December of 2018, FBI agents entered the fingerprints into the system again to look for matches, which resulted in one, Timothy D. Nelson, who had an unrelated arrest in Maryland a few years prior. Nelson was arrested again, and his DNA was tested to match up with that found along Route 26.
Wow.
As of 2019, Nelson was sentenced to 30 years in prison and placed on $750,000 bail.
Good for
Our second story
ass.
begins during January of 1989 on the Chicago TV station WMAQ. As you saw in the intro, WMAQ performed their usual sign-off, but immediately after, the viewer was greeted by a missing persons photo for a Joanna Lopez, along with a phone number. According to those who saw this in person, the photo stayed up all night long, and I can only imagine that having this image stare back at you all night, only accompanied by the sound of static, would be a bit unnerving.
Yeah.
The same incident occurred 2 years later in 1991. The sign-off was followed by the exact same picture and phone number. As much as people searched, absolutely nothing could be found on Joanna Lopez. WMAQ was the only known TV station to broadcast this missing persons report. Many people have tried calling the phone number, but it appears to only lead to certain public services. In 1979, the number belonged to the Regional Directory of Prevention and Treatment Resources. In 1986, the Protocol for Child Death Autopsies. And in 1991, the Child Fatality Investigative Procedures Manual. When WMAQ was asked directly about the case, they stated that it was submitted by an anonymous source who stated that they would call back later, but never did. And there's absolutely no info on why they decided to air the exact same image 2 years later. The only chance at a lead would come in May of 1994, where an unidentified Jane Doe was killed and later found in an alleyway in Chicago. Many people believe that this could possibly be our Joanna Lopez, but I'm not entirely sure that I can see any resemblance.
That's what I'm
Even
saying.
more unfortunately, I've heard that the killer couldn't remember the name of the woman he killed, so will most likely never know her identity. A few months ago, one Reddit user attempted to recreate what Joanna could possibly look like. However, considering that the image is so low quality, it's unlikely that we'll be able to know 100% what Joanna looks like from this image alone. The most recent lead came from one of the moderators for r/Joanna Lopez. They state that in February of 2022, they were able to search for and contact someone who matched Joanna's age, location, and name. The woman picked up the phone and confirmed that yes, her name was Joanna Lopez, going on to explain that she did run away from home at 8.
Shout out to Reddit, because a lot of y'all motherfuckers on Reddit really do be doing the damn thing on Reddit, boy. Shout out to y'all, bro. That man really tried to figure out if that was the same girl, man. Shout out to them. Damn. Shout out to Reddit.
18. However, the call was cut short and Joanna said that she would call back later, which after all this time she never has, and it's safe to assume that she probably won't. It's entirely possible that this was the Joanna Lopez we were looking for, and it's less likely that she was pretending to be Joanna Lopez, considering that the moderator was the one who reached out to her.
Wait, I gotta go fill my cup up. Hold on. I apologize. I gotta fill my cup. I need something to drink while I'm watching this. I'll be back. Alright. I'm back, guys. Alright, I'm sorry. I just, it just gotta be filled. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Not vice versa. But of course we can't confirm anything unless she gives the moderator a call back. And that's the current state of the Joanna Lopez case. If you or anyone you know might have any possible leads for this case, don't hesitate to reach out to me at nightfareinquiries@gmail.com or make a post at r/Joanna Lopez. Our third story starts way back on the morning of August 22nd, 1987, in Melbourne, Australia. After detaching a pane from a home's window, a balaclava-wearing criminal broke into a family's house in Lower Plenty, with a knife in one hand and a gun in the other. The intruder made his way to the parents' bedroom and bound them with a sailor's knot on the floor. Over the course of the next 2 hours, the intruder...
And I apologize, look. If I'm a cop or a detective or whatever, man, I'm not finna look for this man. Look at that. Man, look. Bitch, I'm coming with AKs, I'm coming with AR, I'm coming with a damn bazooka. Cause ain't no way I'm finna, man, look at this dude, bro. Imagine, I'm not even finna go on a rant, man, look at this dude, bro.
Would sexually assault the family's 11-year-old daughter before leaving with a stolen box of records and a blue jacket. This criminal would go on to be known as Mr. Cruel, after he gained infamy as one of Australia's most wanted criminals.
Origin story?
The family was able to get a hold of the police, and the daughter would go on to describe the attack to them. The girl told the police how during Mr. Cruel's 2-hour break-in, he made a call on the family's home phone, where he threatened whoever was on the other end, telling them to move their children or they would be next. However, once the police checked the phone records, there was no such history of this call ever happening. It would only later become evident to the authorities that Mr. Cruel faked this call in order to throw them off his scent. Over a year later, days before Christmas in 1988, Mr. Cruel broke into another home, this time in the Ringwood area of Melbourne, a couple miles southeast of his previous break-in. Again, with his ski mask, knife, and gun, he bound and gagged John Wills and his wife.
Damn.
Mr. Cruel assured the Wills that he was only there for their money, but then quickly proceeded to make his way to the bedroom where all 4 daughters slept. Mr. Cruel woke up one of the daughters by calling her by her name, Sharon Wills, before he blindfolded and gagged her, fleeing the house with her the next morning. Eventually, John Wills freed himself from his bondage, and since Mr. Cruel had cut every phone line in the house, he ran over to the next door neighbor to call the police. 18 hours later, just after midnight, Sharon Wills would be found wandering the streets dressed in green garbage bags, eventually being reunited with her family and the police. Because Sharon was blindfolded, she was unable to give a thorough physical description of Mr. Cruel, but she recalls how he made her take a bath after the assault, as to wash off any potential forensic evidence. This case would later be tied to the one that happened a year prior in Lower Plenty. Mr. Cruel's third crime would take place a little under 2 years later, in the suburbs of Canterbury, west of Ringwood and south of Lower Plenty. Brian and Rosemary Linus were attending a farewell party that evening, and so they left their 2 daughters at home, that being a 13-year-old Nicola and 15-year-old Fiona. It would be just before midnight when Mr. Cruel would break into their home. He tied Fiona to the bed and instructed her to tell her father that he would need to pay him $25,000 for Nicola's return. After that, he took off with Nicola in the family's rental car that was parked in the driveway. However, without receiving his money, Mr. Cruel would drop Nicola off at an electricity station a few days later, where she was wrapped in a blanket and blindfolded. As Mr. Cruel drove off, she took off the blindfold and called home at 2 in the morning. Nicola described to the police that Mr. Cruel was around 5'8", with reddish-brown hair. She stated that she was forced down onto Mr. Cruel's bed.
Who the fuck? I ain't even... Man, look. This shit ridiculous, dog. Who drew this, bro? Like somebody got a kindergarten class to... Sure. Look, the situation is bad, and I apologize. But, man... They don't even look like... Get the fuck out of here,
brace
man.
Contraption held her in place while she was abused. Nicola says that she heard him speaking aloud to another person, but that she never heard a response. meaning to investigators that this was most likely another attempt by Mr. Cruel to throw them off. Mr. Cruel's final crime would take place a year later on April 13th of 1991, where he broke into the home of John and Phyllis Chan in the Templestowe district. Once again, the parents were not in the house, as they trusted their 13-year-old daughter to watch over her two younger siblings for the night. At roughly 8:40 p.m., 13-year-old Carmen Chan and one of her sisters would head to the kitchen where they would be greeted by a man in a balaclava and a gray tracksuit. He forced the two younger children into Carmen's wardrobe, claiming that he wanted Carmen alone to show him where the money was. The younger siblings were able to eventually force their way out of the barricaded wardrobe, but it was too late, as Mr. Cruel had already made off with Carmen. Police arrived at the Chan household only to find a note on Phyllis's Toyota Camry that said, "Pay back, Asian drug dealer." However, this would later be written off as another red herring. Days later, the Chans submitted an encrypted letter to the local newspaper using a cipher that Carmen would be able to decrypt, offering $300,000 in ransom money in exchange for their daughter. Sadly, there would never be a reunion between Carmen and her family, as the only lead that would come would be almost a year later on April 9th, 1992, where a man would be walking his dog and stumble upon a fully decomposed skeleton that was later determined to be Carmen. An autopsy revealed that Carmen was shot 3 times in the head not long after her abduction, which led many to wonder why Mr. Cruel had released his previous victims, but not Carmen. Unfortunately, no more leads would come from the Mr. Cruel case, and the operation to search for him would shut down in 1994. What sprouted from this case were many police sketches of Mr. Cruel that were disturbing, but in their own special way.
That's what I'm saying.
Instead of having
Look at the first one. That's, man, bro, imagine waking up in the middle of the night and you in your room is dark and you look in the corner of your fucking room. The corner of your room, and you see this motherfucker right here. You see this motherfucker right here. Right there. You see this motherfucker right there just watching you. Like, hell no. And then look at the second one. Man, this man got on a suit. This man said, This man got on a suit, man. What the fuck? This man got on a suit, bro. This is so stupid. And then you look at the last one. Some teacher got her class to draw that. Like I said, like, bro, they need to fire whoever did that last one. I'm sorry, because that shit's terrible.
Exaggerated facial features or dark pits for eyes, Mr. Cruel would always be covered in his signature balaclava, meaning that the most disturbing part of these police sketches is that we truly don't know what he looks like, and most likely never will. Our final story takes place on September 30th, 1952, in Colorado, 6.5 miles south of Black Hawk, in a small gulch off of Highway 119. It's Tuesday afternoon, and Charles Dammit is at the mouth of the gulch hoping to shoot some
I was reading that
while also looking for spent ammunition casings.
I'm a slow reader.
Dammit had been in this area many times before, so it was a shock to him when he found something new there. A pyre. More specifically, a large charred log. When he lifted up the log, he found that a body laid beneath it, except it was less of a body and only just 15 pounds of human flesh and bone. The 7-foot log and the woman's body both smelled as if they had been soaked with gasoline. After discovering the body, Dammit visited the site several times in the same evening before eventually reporting his findings to the authorities. Investigators discovered a rhinestone necklace, a fragment of sequined cloth, a small electric razor, metal rivets of blue jeans, the sole of one shoe, earrings, a purse, and an empty lipstick container. They also discovered a man's ring with no setting near the woman's remains. One of the legs had been pulled away from the rest of the skeleton, carried a short distance, and then dropped, possibly by an animal, and a small patch of her hair was still attached to the woman's skull. Police suspected that the woman was killed up to a month before, and that she was possibly killed in a different location before being transported to and burned in the gulch. After an autopsy, it was found that this woman was 5'7", had a prominent overbite, and was killed 20 days prior.
Sketch. That's useful.
The death was most likely caused by bludgeoning to the head, but police were unable to determine whether or not she was alive while being burned. About half a dozen men were interviewed for the crime.
That's a good sketch.
Including Charles Damoth. Charles explained during a lie detector test that he had moved to Colorado with his second wife 3 years earlier, who had given birth to their son just weeks before Charles found the body. When asked why he returned to the site several times before reporting it to the authorities, Charles said he just wanted to look at the body. A few days later, a 3-foot-long stick was discovered near the site that had blood all over it, which was determined to be what the murderers used to bludgeon the woman's head. Soon after, Charles divorced his wife and quickly moved out of state to Cass City, Michigan. 6 months after that, a woman who knew Charles reported to the authorities that she had seen his pickup truck near the location of the pyre on September 10th, 20 days before the body was discovered. Coincidentally, the same amount of time that the autopsy determined was how long it took for the body to be discovered. Charles was again tracked down and forced to take another lie detector test, along with a truth serum that was injected into his veins. But again, the results were inconclusive, meaning that this case would remain unsolved to this very day. There are many reconstructions of what authorities presume this woman to look like, but only one of them is truly terrifying. This, like with most disturbing sketches, is another...
Yo, bro, that shit is imprinted in my fucking head now. Bro, I can't look at that screen, bro. Yo, bro, that shit ugly, dog. Why they did that woman like that, bro? Oh my God. I gotta fucking sit here and look at this, man. Oh my God. Oh my God, duh. Alright, y'all. Oh my.
Wildly disproportionate face.
But what the fuck is
entire
that?
Head seems unnaturally large and
the teeth, bro. Look at the mouth.
The nose is incredibly small, and the mouth is far too big, and the eyes are again just large dark pits. Alright, now let's try to understand why all of these images are so unnerving.
Please.
A pattern that I saw with the first and final police sketches is that they seem to lie at the depths of the uncanny valley. If you're a longtime viewer, you've probably heard me talk about this before, but for those of you that don't know, the uncanny valley is a relationship between an object's degree of human resemblance and the emotional response towards that object. Simply put, the uncanny valley is a sharp downward spike in familiarity as an object increases in human likeness but is not yet 100% human looking. I believe that these and most police sketches fall into the uncanny valley.
Alright.
We're afraid and disturbed by them because they look human, yet there are just a few things wrong with them that make a big difference. However, both Joanna Lopez and Mr. Cruel's pictures are creepy for different reasons. Joanna's being that it's so low quality and unrecognizable, not to mention that it was aired at the dead of night with almost no information pertaining to the case. Mr. Cruel's sketches are disturbing not because they're poorly drawn or of low quality, but because of his signature balaclava. We don't and most likely will never know what this man looks like, meaning that he could very well still be alive and living out his days in Melbourne.
Exactly.
And that about wraps up what I had planned for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Like always, thank you for watching, and good night.
For sure, man. Alright, you guys, so that was disturbing police sketches and photos. These photos really did creep me the fuck out. Alright, they did. I'm really unsettled, and you know, I'm gonna probably have trouble sleeping tonight. If you guys enjoyed this video, man, please consider liking. If you guys really enjoyed this video, man, please consider subscribing. To be notified when I upload, man, click that bell. It's just that simple. If you guys want to watch this video for yourself, man, I'm going to leave the link to the original video down in the description. I'm also going to leave a link to Night Fair's channel in the description as well, so make sure you head over there and subscribe. Let them know that I sent you. If you guys want to put a request for me to react to anything, just head down to the comment section, type out what you want me to react to. I'll get to it. I'll shout you out in that video. It's just that simple. Here are all of my social medias. It's been your boy, BIGWOLFTV. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one.